This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you had an accident? Could you be owed some compensation? Well, if that's the case and your ambulance-chasing lawyer has won you a wheelbarrow full of £50 notes and you like Les Pauls and you're looking to treat yourself, here's a few options that I've bundled together under the title of Silly Money Single Cuts. Okay then, coming in at the budget end of the lineup, £2,375, we have the Heritage Guitar H150. Now, the thing about Heritage guitars is their name says it all. These guitars are built in the old Gibson factory in Kalamazoo, Michigan. After Gibson kind of departed there and went to build guitars in Nashville, I think some of the old employees or whatever happened, but basically the Heritage company was born out of the ashes of Gibson's operations in Kalamazoo, and you can actually see, if we find the shot of the headstock, there it is, made in Kalamazoo, Michigan, USA. Beautiful looking guitar. Let's have a close-up look at it here. A very, very traditional looking Les Paul that just has, you know, that slightly different headstock shape and everything, just has its own stamp of identity. And I was lucky enough to see Gary Moore on his Still Got the Blues tour back, I think it was 1990, and he played one of these for the majority of that gig, actually, which surprised me because, you know, you think Gary Moore, you think Les Paul, you think of that iconic Peter Green guitar, don't you? But this was the guitar, or a guitar very similar to this, that Gary played for the majority of that gig. And you can actually see him kind of holding one on the cover of his After the War album. In terms of spec, everything you'd expect: mahogany body, mahogany neck, rosewood fretboard, a pair of Seymour Duncan 59 humbuckers, you know, Tone Pros, bridge, everything you would expect basically. Why mess with a recipe that has been perfected, you know, many times before this? It's just a good Les Paul style guitar, this. However, if your tastes run to something a little bit more metal orientated and you've got about £3,800 to spend, then you might wish to go for the ESP Eclipse. A very, very attractive looking guitar, it has to be said. Perhaps... maybe, no, I would say there's that fine line, isn't there, between opulent and ostentatious, and I think this just about stays on the right side of it. I'm not usually a fan of, you know, coloured bursts like this, or is that a burst? But, you know, kind of bright blue guitars, or bright purple, or bright green guitars. It doesn't really do it for me. But this, you know, I could kind of go with this, I think. Let's have a look at the specs and see what we've got. Single cut model, obviously, mahogany neck, flame maple top, ebony fretboard. Neck attachment, oh, this is a through neck, and it's a thin U-shape profile, so this is going to be aimed at shredders, as you can see via these meaty looking frets here, 22 extra jumbo frets. Let's have a close look at that neck there, like that. Let's see if we can get a little bit closer. There we go. Yeah, those are some pretty chunky frets, and you know, it's not something you often find yourself saying, is it? It's a tasteful and attractive, you know, metal guitar or shredder guitar. Usually you tend to associate that genre of music with, you know, kind of pointy headstocks and, you know, over-the-top paint schemes, but not here. As you would expect on a guitar like this, EMG pickups, again, Tone Pros bridge, and locking Tune-o-matic bridge and tailpiece. Spurzl locking machine heads, and, you know, so if you are into shredding and metal and stuff like that, but you want something that is a little bit more traditional looking, at least, then this could be the guitar for you. Moving on, let's have a look at this. About 5,600 quid will buy you a Nags SSC, Steve Stevens model. Now, that's the surprising thing for me, the fact that this guitar has Steve Stevens on it. I can't say that I've really followed Steve's career throughout the years, and, you know, the last time I really remember being exposed to him was back in the 80s on the Top Gun soundtrack, you know, and if you'd asked me even to this day what sort of guitar would I expect Steve Stevens to be playing, I would probably think back to that guy with the big bouffant mullet hairdo and the pointy headstock Super Strat. But maybe like the rest of us, his tastes in guitars have changed. Let's have a look at this. Beautiful looking instrument. I like the fact that it is confident enough in its own identity to be saying, yep, we're building something that's a single cut, but we're not copying a Les Paul. It's got a slightly quirky, almost German look to it. When you think of Framus guitars, for example, it's kind of got a little bit of a look of that sort of vibe to it. Let's see what we've got here in terms of spec. Anyway, we have a mahogany body with a curly maple top, mahogany neck, set neck, bare knuckle pickups, and just the basic meat and potatoes in terms of controls, 2 volumes, 2 tones, and a 3-way toggle. Again, Tone Pros hardware, vintage Kluson tuners, so if you're a fan of locking tuners, this probably isn't going to be for you. Personally, I can take them or leave them, but I know it can be a deal breaker for some people, but dearie me, isn't that just the prettiest thing you've seen today? I covet that guitar. One of my students, a chap called Joe, has a Nags guitar, and I think he has 2 actually, and he can't stop talking about how beautiful they are, and I think you can see why. Anyway, the penultimate guitar on our list today. You can't do a video on single cut guitars without talking about this brand here, the one that started it all, of course, the Gibson Les Paul. This is the one I've chosen to take a look at today, mainly because I've been listening to a lot of Peter Frampton lately, and a black Les Paul custom 3 pickup. You've got to think of Mr. Frampton with that, haven't you? Beautiful looking guitar. It has that sort of Steinway grand piano look to it, doesn't it? It's just, I normally like on a guitar, I like to see a nice wood finish, but dearie me, that looks really, really classy. Let's have a look at what we've got here anyway. This, of course, is, 6,590 quid's worth of guitar. As I've said before, I'm not really a fan of relic guitars, but this is one of the VOS, which is vintage original specifications. I think these guitars are built so that they look like they were built in the 50s and then just put in a case, and you bring them out today and that's what they look like. I think that's what that refers to. Maybe I'm wrong, let me know. Hand selected 1-piece solid mahogany, and it's not chambered. No maple top on these guitars. It's just mahogany. 1-piece mahogany neck, ebony fretboard, Les Paul custom neck profile. Of course, you get the long neck tenon, and it's made with, hide glue. Not any kind of modern, glue. It's made with the same glue they would have made them from back in the 50s. 3 E-Bucket Alnico 3 humbuckers, you're buying a guitar like this, you're not really looking at the specs, are you? You're looking at just the fact that it is what it is, and it is, kind of a family heirloom almost. This is something that will be passed down the generations. Beautiful looking guitar. And let's move on to the most expensive one in the lineup. You're not going to get a lot of change out of 10 grand if you choose to buy this PRS McCartney 594 private stock. Let's just have a look at some pictures. Beautiful looking guitar. Perhaps that fine line I was talking about between opulent and ostentatious, perhaps it might just be nudging over that line in this case here. It's a matter of personal taste, but, you know, you cannot deny the exquisite workmanship on display here. Just like these kind of touches here, the control plates on the back where you access the cavities. You know, just the fact that it's just, they've taken not a piece of wood, but they've taken the same piece of wood that the body is made from, and you can see how the grain continues through it. That's just workmanship, just, you know, on steroids, isn't it? Of course, you get the private stock logo up there, that abalone inlay eagle, and guitar signed by Mr. Smith himself. Beautiful, beautiful looking guitar. We might as well have a look at the specs. Obviously, a flame maple top, African ribbon mahogany, a rosewood neck as well. Rosewood fretboard and headstock, rosewood with flame maple binding, pattern vintage neck profile, and mother of pearl jaybird fretboard inlays with power center. Let's have a look at that. I don't even know if I pronounced that right, but let's have a look at those inlays, see if we can find a close-up on those. There we go. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I see what it means. It's like the outline is... let's see if I can find a close-up of those inlays somewhere. There's got to be one. Oh, there we go. Yes. Yeah, you can see how it's kind of almost an inlay within an inlay, can't you? Again, just stunning, stunning attention to detail and workmanship, which is exactly what you'd expect at the thick end of 10 grand for essentially a musical instrument. But this is so much more than that. This is, again, this is family heirloom territory, isn't it? This is something to pass on to future generations and hopefully get played in the interim years, because I think it would be so sad for a guitar like this to end up living in a glass case, or even worse, a bank vault. But it's possible that might just be where it ends up. Hey-ho. Anyway, those are the guitars in our lineup of Silly Money single cuts. So there you have it. Which one would I have? Well, it would be a toss-up between the Gibson, the 3-pickup Les Paul Custom, and the Nags. The Gibson would be a strong contender because of the whole Peter Frampton thing, and the thing is, though, I know it would end up going the way of all Les Pauls that I've owned. I love it until I fall out of love with it, and just ergonomically it never kind of quite works for me, the whole Les Paul thing. So on balance, I think it would probably be the Nags. As I said in that clip there, one of my students in the States, Joe, has a Nags guitar, or he has a couple of Nags guitars, and he absolutely raves about them and says they're the best thing since sliced bread, basically. And I think that would probably sway me if I had, a wheelbarrow full of cash to spend on a guitar. So there you go. Those are my choices. Not by any means a definitive list of boutique or high-end single-cut guitars. These are just the ones that, as I was scrolling through the interweb and having a look, those are the ones that sort of caught my attention and made me go for a second look. Please let me know which one you would have, or, whatever one you might have that's not on that list, whatever your preference would be. Interested to know that. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it mildly entertaining, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not give me a like while you're at it. If you're interested in supporting the channel, all the links are down there in the description. Thank you so much if you are supporting me in that way, and thank you in advance advance if you're thinking about doing it. And I'll just say, don't forget the live stream tomorrow, Friday, 5 p.m. UK time. It's just a bunch of people having a beer and talking guitars and music. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there. And until then, I'll just say thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.